Broke their transfer record to sign Gylfi Sigurdsson last week, but what are the chances of any more new faces at Goodison Park? Ronald Koeman will tell us. What are the chances of Lionel Messi leaving Barcelona? You'll get an answer from his former manager Pep Guardiola very shortly. And
good morning. We can promise you the final 9 days will not be dull, and immediately we will go to PSG. Some serious intent from them once again in this window. We understand they've made an initial loan move for Kylian Mbappe, which includes Lucas Moura moving in the other direction. The proposal is a loan with an agreement to buy next summer. PSG, of course, are mindful of meeting UEFA's financial fair play rules following the world record signing of Neymar. We're told by well-placed sources that Monaco and PSG are far from an agreement at this stage, and they may not stop there. Sky in Italy are reporting that PSG are also in talks to sign Fabinho. If that happens, PSG are building quite a formidable side. Just over a week left of this window then, as we mentioned, and we're still no wiser as to where Diego Costa and how this saga plays out. Talks are ongoing for him to move back to Atletico Madrid. As of this morning, a compromise has not yet been reached, contrary to some reports in Spain. The extraordinary standoff has been described as a drama by those close to the player. Antonio Conte laughed off questions about him last week.
Well, let's get immediate reaction. Sean Goater still with us there. Chelsea, can they afford to be missing a striker of the quality of Costa's?
Well, as long as they perform well and keep winning games and get 3 points, then yes. But if they were to go 2 or 3 games and not win and not score goals, there'll be this question mark on why, when you've got a player negotiate and sort some deal. He's a quality, he's one of those you love him or loathe him type of player he is. But this is unreal. He's dictating to the club that this is the deal that he wants, and he wants away, and that they basically now need to make it happen. I can't see a win for Diego Costa, and so I'm intrigued to see exactly what Chelsea do throughout this period.
It's interesting what you said there, just very briefly, because I want to ask you about his replacement. But as a player, if you're in that Chelsea squad, whose side would you be on, Diego Costa's or Antonio Conte's?
Well, as players, you're going to support. You have support for your fellow teammates, but he's not there, so therefore the more support is going to the manager, Conte.
So they brought in Morata, obviously to be their frontline replacement for Diego Costa. He's had spells at 2 of the biggest clubs in Italy, yes, and in Spain as well. But very rarely has he been the #1 choice frontline man. Can he handle that?
I think so. This is what he wanted. He wanted away from Real Madrid because he wanted more first-team football. He obviously wanted an occasion where it's a big team. Chelsea are a big team, European team as well. So this is the platform for him. He's having to adjust. It's a transition period here because he's having to adjust to Chelsea, the style, and the players are having to adjust to him as well. But I see it being a good match. The other striker, whose name
Batshuayi.
Yes, thank you. I think he scored the own goal, but I think once he gets over that, he's a very good striker, and I think between those two can do very well or will do very well for Chelsea. But yeah, Morata, I think, just needs to he'll get himself a few goals, and the players will adjust to his style, and he'll lead the line very well.
OK, let's go from attacking options to the case for the defence, and a defender who's been very much in demand. Here's Paul.
Yes, Rob, we're told Virgil van Dijk trained with Southampton under-18s yesterday. He wants to leave the club, as we know. He handed in a transfer request and strongly criticised the club's management. Southampton have been adamant on this. They say he's not for sale. We await confirmation that centre-back Wesley Hoyt will be joining Southampton. That's what Lazio's sporting director said on Sunday, and whether that has any impact on any potential Van Dijk departure.
Whose side are you on this one? Do you praise Southampton for staying strong, or if a player wants to leave, should he be allowed to leave? He's handed in a transfer request.
Well, I'm Southampton as a club, because I mean, Van Dijk is just, and then all the clubs will be, oh, well, we've got to sell them. So I think Southampton's in the right to let this just simmer down, let him calm down a little bit, train a little bit with the reserves, and realize you can be here for another 6 months, you could be here for another year, but you're a Southampton player and you're going to be playing for Southampton.
How does it feel as a player, though? Because to play devil's advocate here, yesterday Southampton said, Jordy Clasie, we don't need you anymore, or those were the reports, you can go. So as a player, you can be told, right, you're out the door, whereas a player can't go, I want to go out the door.
Yes, it's, I think, slightly different because Van Dijk, again, has got a number of years on his contract. So that for me is he was happy with that. A player that's been told to move on perhaps has a wind of that, has a sense of that because they're not playing as regular, and you sense that over the past season. It isn't something where you're playing regular one season and then the next season you're just automatically dropped. So I think that player would have sensed that, would have known, and would have seen it coming. So therefore his agent would be probably in the background working, trying to sort out some sort of a deal, which is a whole different scenario.
OK, let's get more on that top box up there. Will Zlatan return? Question mark. Here's Paul.
Yeah, Manchester United are doing OK without him, 2 4-0 wins, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic is closing in on a return to Old Trafford. Negotiations are ongoing for Ibrahimovic to extend his stay at the club. We're told there's not yet an agreement in place, and Jose Mourinho says they are discussing the possibility of him staying on.
OK, what about that one? Negotiations are ongoing. Would you like to see him return to the Premier League and to Manchester United?
Oh yes, I mean he's an exciting player. I mean he brings an aura about him even when he isn't playing. Some of the one-line statements, but he also backs it when he plays. And I think it's a shrewd signing because I was initially just sort of thinking, you know, if Lukaku is injured, then what real physical presence do United have? And I think that, yeah, that you know, having Zlatan will be a really good option for them in playing games in Europe and so on and so forth. So, and he delivers. He's a quality player and he delivers.
So is he there as a backup to Lukaku, or can the two play in the same team?
I think he'll be more for a backup. And I think there'll be games they could play together. I mean, at the end of the day, they're quality players. Lukaku possesses the pace that you require when you play with Zlatan. Because Zlatan, everyone knows it's going to be the feet, it's going to be in front of you. And Lukaku possesses that down the side pace to stretch teams. Yes, at times I think they could play together, but I initially think it'd be a one-for-one competing situation.
Exciting times if you happen to be a Manchester United team, frightening times if you happen to be on the opposition. Now, the future of Philippe Coutinho has been the subject of plenty of debate this summer. A deadline set by Barcelona to accept their latest bid of £118 million passed on Sunday night. Liverpool are adamant the forward is not for sale. Jamie Carragher thinks he won't be sold. However, speaking on Monday Night Football, Carragher believes it could have been a very different story had things gone another way earlier this summer.
I don't think there's any doubt now. I think, to be honest, I was thinking about, I said a few weeks ago, they can't sell him, they can't do that. The problem is, it become more about political rather than the actual business of it, I think, in terms of Liverpool have had such a poor window. They couldn't be seen to letting go of him. Now, if Liverpool's three big targets of Van Dijk, Keita and Salah, if they'd got them in the door, I'm not saying, yes, sell him, but it may have been easier to prize him away. And even Liverpool supporters may have thought 120 million for Philippe Coutinho, and then you could still go and spend that with 2 or 3 weeks of the window to go. But they were never going to sell him on the fact that they hadn't brought enough players in.
Standoff or brinkmanship? What is this? Where do the two clubs go now?
Well, I think Liverpool have, you know, said it pretty clear. What's coming out from Liverpool is that they're not wanting to sell him. You know, in Barcelona, I think all the eggs are in that basket. They want Coutinho, and I personally think that Liverpool will be short. I think they'll be short to win the Premier League, and for me, I think they can do. It could be good business as to what they can do with that after Coutinho has moved on, if they accept it.
Yeah, if he doesn't move on, is it important that Jurgen Klopp assesses how he'll react and his teammates react to the non-sale? because it could leave a bad taste, couldn't it?
Yes, and that could probably knock Coutinho a month or two. And if you have a key player that's not quite at it for a month or two, you know, for Liverpool, that could be 9 to 12 points that Coutinho could have contributed to. And Liverpool can't afford 9 or 12 points. They just can't afford to lose 9 or 12 points.
Summer's transfer window, but has he finished? Find out next. Blog for all the latest deals. That's on our website and digital devices.
Now to Arsenal, and they continue to try and sell players. We can expect more departures in the next 9 days. Will Jack Wilshere be one of them, or can he still have a future at the Emirates? At this stage, we're not aware of any formal offers for the England international. He was sent off for their under-23s last night after reacting to a late tackle from Manchester City player Matthew Smith. A more concrete move should see John Torrell leave for Hull City. We understand a deal is close and the medical is today.
Interesting. Jack Wilshere, there is no denying his ability, but he's been cursed by these injuries. That red card most probably born out of frustration last night, wasn't it, really? What does the future hold for him?
Yeah, it's sort of unknown because, again, the ability that he has, he possesses, and he gets caught up in all this, and there's probably frustration from himself that, you know, the season's kicked off and he's having to be recuperating and coming from an injury. What the future holds, and I think that's the same with Wilshere. He puts himself in these positions of launching for balls, of dribbling, driving forward. It's gone a little too far, and then he you know, trying to recoup that ball or keep that ball, he's launched, and therefore an injury comes, and then he's out for a number of weeks, and then he's having to get himself going again. But in terms of ability, I mean, he's a top quality player, possesses, you know, the qualities you want in a modern day footballer. Dribbling, yes, can produce more goals, but in terms of driving and asking questions of midfield and spreading balls, moving it left to right, he's quality.
But it begs the question, if, and it is still a big if Arsenal were to let him go, where does he go? He had the loan spell at Bournemouth. Would any of the top 5 be interested in England? Or would he have to go abroad to find the level that he should be playing at?
Probably abroad, because he's been at Arsenal, and I think that when they see his CV come through, I think they'll just see the injuries. And they'll look and they'll know the quality of player he is, but they think, well, he's just had patches of being out. And I think what will probably be good for him is perhaps going overseas and knuckling down for a couple seasons at a top club, and because again he's still a young player, so he can still, you know, resurrect sort of the career, if you like, go away, perform well for a few seasons, and then find himself back in the Premiership. But some of it is self-inflicted with the injuries.
Okay, let's get more, shall we? Here's Paul.
Yeah, across North London, it appears Kevin Wimmer is on his way out of Tottenham following the arrival of Davinson Sanchez. Sanchez, of course, subject to medical and a work permit as well. We understand West Brom bosses have sanctioned the purchase for a fee of £15 million of Wimmer to West Brom. Tony Pulis will now decide if he wants to push ahead with that deal. We understand Stoke manager Mark Hughes is still keen on Wimmer. Another source tells us Crystal Palace have now expressed their interest in the centre half. Now, if Wimmer does go to West Brom, the club will still fight to keep Johnny Evans. Could this be a pivotal week, one way or the other, for this potential transfer? Evans has been the subject of an £18 million bid from Manchester City, a bid that was rejected by West Brom. Tony Pulis said last week that he couldn't guarantee keeping his captain if an enormous offer is made. City are reportedly looking at alternative options should they fail to reach an agreement with the Midlands club before next Thursday's deadline.
Now, Lionel Messi's buyout clause may be a staggering £275 million, but according to his former manager Pep Guardiola, someone could pay it. Asked whether Messi's buyout clause could be activated following Neymar's £198 million move to Paris Saint-Germain, here's what Pep had to say.
Pues no lo sé.
I don't know. Someone might have, if they have the money, they want to spend it. Might happen. Who knows?
Love nothing better in football than putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5. Lionel Messi, if of all the English Premier League clubs who could afford him, Manchester City most probably would be the only one. Pep Guardiola, his former manager. There's a thought.
Yes, it is, but I don't get excited because when Pep was at Barcelona, you just heard little bits that one of the reasons he left was because he knew he couldn't get Messi to continue doing what he was doing. Messi was doing it, as in the high press and winning the ball back and all of that, but was he able to have Messi continue doing that? Again, how true was that? Don't know. So, believe me, I would love for Messi to come to Man City, but again, I think it's 2 and 2 and getting 5.
What about Johnny Evans?
I think that would be a good bit of business. I think he's an experienced player. I think he's good on the ball, and you know he's won things. So for me, the one thing I can see that Pep has learned from last season is he likes to play the 3 at the back, and that's moving perhaps Fernandinho or Yaya being in that 3. He's now looked at playing a defender, i.e. he's got Stones there, but I think where the problem ends up being is Stones is still learning and improving. And I think Johnny Evans is an experienced player that is also a good defender that can come into that fold and be competition.
Would that be it for City, or would you still like to see more?
For me, I always thought, even back last season, I thought that we don't perhaps have a plan B, and that's a big centre forward. To be able to, again, in a game and say, okay, the last 10, 15 minutes, all when teams like Liverpool come in high press and other teams, that we can go into this player and play off of. Aguero is top quality, but again, we know we can't just throw the long ball into him, so we don't have that plan B.
City have been big spenders, but they're not the only ones this window. Here's Paul.
That's right, Rob. Have a look at just what Everton have brought in this summer so far, and it appears they're not finished. Ronald Koeman has been speaking about potential new signings. This is what he had to say after the draw with Manchester City last night.
Finally, is the spending done now?
I hope not.
What else do you need?
Now, okay, we are looking for a left-footed centre defender, maybe the backup for Leighton. With the injury of Funes Mori, we don't have any left-footed on that side behind as a backup of Leighton. That's an option, and also a striker, because I think even with the talent of Dominic and Ramirez, look to other squads, they have that number of players that if we need to make the next step, if we like to make the next step, we need a striker in as well.
He's enjoying himself this window. Swansea have had a bid accepted by Hull for midfielder Sam Clucas. We understand it's £15 million up front and could rise to £16.5 million. Clucas was left out of Hull's defeat at Queen's Park Rangers last Saturday. His move will be worth more than £750,000 to League Two side Chesterfield, who sold him to Hull in 2015. Swansea left-back Stephen Kingsley is going the other way to Hull. Now, Newcastle are closely monitoring Sampdoria midfielder Dennis Praet after sending scouts to watch him in action. However, Rafa Benitez is understood to be under pressure to sell a number of players before investing in new recruits.
Has represented Portugal at under 21 level. Let's bring you these pictures into us this morning, and that's a wonderful shot of Luke Shaw. Good to see him back in action. He's played 59 minutes for United's reserves last night against Swansea. He's recovering from ligament damage in his foot, and the injuries he has been through for such a young man. Good to see him out and training. Same could be said for Ashley Young as well. He played 59 minutes against Swansea last night as well. He's not played all season due to a hamstring problem, but looks to be stretching quite well out there this morning. And plenty for these two to debate. Not a bad start to the season for him, is it? Look, you can see Matic in the background as well. Lukaku and Jose Mourinho in close consultation out there on the training ground. Do you think Manchester United still have stuff to be done?
Well, I think all managers always say, you know, they'd like another additional player. So there's probably a player out there they still want, I'm sure.
You can never satisfy Jose Mourinho. Unfortunately, we have to be satisfied because our time has come to the end. Sean, lovely to see you.
Pleasure as always, Rob.
As always. Right, don't forget you can find out all about the latest deals in the Premier League and beyond in our dedicated transfer centre. Next show at 3 o'clock right here on Sky Sports News and at